In India, Grasim will be only conglomerate having seven large businesses which are also listed companies. So you will have a conglomerate discount, not a holding company discount alone on that.
Last week, the Aditya Birla Group announced a restructuring in which group companies Grasim and Aditya Birla Nuvo would merge into a new Grasim. Thereafter, Nuvo's financial services business would be demerged and listed, with the new Grasim owning 57% of it, promoters owning 17%, and public shareholders owning 26%. The markets have dissed the merger, and both Grasim and Nuvo shares have fallen sharply since then. Anil Singhvi, founder of proxy advisory firm IIAS, says the restructuring does not benefit public shareholders of either company.
Let's examine first Grasim. Grasim already has a textile and a cement business, though because of having this holding company structure, it already suffers almost 35% discount to the underlying value of either textile business or cement business put together on that. Now on top of it, if we want to have financial services, telecom, urea, insulators, all of that. So obviously from being just a two business holdco, it's becoming a conglomerate. In India, we have seen conglomerates have discounts ranging between 35 to 70%. So God forbid if people think that Grasim is really not a good idea, Grasim's discount today to the underlying value from 35% may move up to 50% or excess of 50%. No, I don't necessarily agree on that, because financial services, as you know, it's a money guzzler business where you have to constantly provide capital. More capital you provide, better you do in this. But that does not necessarily mean that Grasim is really a cash cow, because it's ultimately the cash generation on the Grasim per se. The balance sheet is only the textile business. Otherwise, it's only the dividend which comes from Ultratech. But it's not only the financial services business, it's also telecom business, which is also a large guzzler of capital. So it's not only just the financial services. So they have really touted this whole exercise has been done because Grasim shareholders will get some financial services shares as well. But look at it, it is a tag along is also telecom business, which is, according to me, Idea is one of the poorest businesses today to take on the might of Jio. So everyone knows about it very well on this, that Idea will have a major problem because they lack a spectrum. They will have to really burn a lot of cash fighting with Reliance Jio. So today, for anyone to say that, oh, Grasim balance sheet is a strong balance sheet, yes, today it is a strong balance sheet. But by bringing in these two businesses, which are really going to take so much of cash, is not serving anyone's purpose. The second point is AB Nuvo. People who are buying AB Nuvo shares, investors buying shares because wanting to have financial services shares. Now what you have done by this restructuring, 57% will be held by Grasim and only 43% are being distributed. I don't think ever a shareholder bought AB Nuvo shares only to get a 43% right. Why should they get into holding a Grasim share? It's like today, if suppose the shareholding was not common, okay, of the Kumar Mangalam Birla and these two companies, and Grasim and AB Nuvo would have been a separate companies, not having this one conflicted shareholder, do you think they would have ever merged? Do you think ever board of Grasim and AB Nuvo would have found any reason to merge these two companies? Then you can merge even Hindalco tomorrow by the same definition. Why not merge Hindalco? Actually, to be honest to you, I have a feeling that this whole exercise is done today to increase from 30 to 39% holding of the promoter in the Grasim, and going forward, this will become a Pilani investment. What is Pilani investment? It has all companies, underlying companies, all listed companies, and it's a holdco. I think he wants to kill any interest of any shareholder in Grasim, and over a period of time creep in shares, because Grasim will be trading always at a discount of 50, 60, 70% to the underlying assets which it has, which are listed companies, and over a period of time Grasim becomes a Pilani investment. In fact, they did Pilani exactly the same way the Grasim is going today. And mind you, when Century comes in because of the personal and family restructuring on that, they will merge Century also, because it also has textile and cement, and they'll say, oh, there's a good reason for us to merge Century Textile also into Grasim and increase our holding into that. And then last one is Hindalco. Take my word, if this merger goes through, it will be, next will be Century Textile, thereafter will be Hindalco. Grasim will be a holding company of the promoters with no interest by outside shareholders. That's what happened in Pilani. Well, there are many such growth areas in India. E-commerce is one. There could be something else also, but that doesn't mean when I'm buying a Grasim share, largely I'm buying for cement and textile. I'm really not buying Grasim share for financial services. It doesn't work. Secondly, the fund managers in India or abroad on that, they all take sectoral views. How will he have a view at the same point in time, a view on cement, a view on textile, a view on financial services, a view on telecom, a view on insulators, a view on urea? Come on, give me a break. I don't think there can be one fund manager who can take view on 7 of the very, very different businesses on that. Then I would rather buy a balanced mutual fund and take a ride on that and then buying Grasim. Why should I take the risk of that? If there are enough balanced funds available on that, which are having a much more sectoral exposure than the Grasim has it on this. Only one set of shareholders and no prizes for guessing. It's Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla and his companies. And let me give you one more example. They talk about the fair value, that we have done this and we have independent values. I respect them. They are really very bright people. Would Mr. Birla be then interested in selling off his 20% holding? 10% is held by Pilani and Hindalco. So I won't include that. 20% shareholding at the fair valuation, and I'm sure there would be many private equity buyers willing to buy his holding at 20%, the same fair valuation.